Hi, I'm Stu Kagan, and welcome to Born Scrappy, the podcast for scrap metal exporters and traders. Join me in conversation with some of the most experienced traders and operators that have helped shape this incredible industry. In today's episode, I'm chatting with Andy Golding. Andy is the incoming chairman of ReMA and is the friendliest face at every conference you'll attend. Oh, and he also knows a thing or two about metal recycling. He was the VP of Sales and Marketing at Kripke Enterprises for 16 years, and he's now their Chief Strategy Officer. In today's episode, we talk about relationships aren't made on the good deals, having humor in your marketing, texting is for friends, assessing the vibe, and so much more. So let's jump into it with the man himself. But first, intro. Hey, Andy, how are you?
I am fantastic. It is sunny in Toledo, Ohio, and I'm doing great. How about you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing wonderfully well. I'm super happy. I'm glad to be recording this with you today. It is actually really cold here in Texas, in Austin, but really cold for Austin is probably around 100 degrees or so.
Really? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
I love hot weather, and Toledo is a four-season town or part of the country, and I would love to be in the heat. I would love to be in the heat. I love the hot weather.
well, that's how we felt arriving here from New Zealand. My wife and I, obviously both being from South Africa, arrived here and we're in our happy place. We're back in the heat. It's something, I don't know if we're cold-blooded or what it is, but when we're in the heat, we just are generally happier.
I totally get it. I envy you, and Austin's a great town.
Well, you'll come visit again soon, I'm sure.
I hope so.
Andy.
Well, if that's an invite, sure, of course.
Absolutely, it is. Let's understand, right? So let's understand your background, understand how you got into this industry from the beginning, and basically how we get to today and what you do on a day-to-day basis. Which I know you for long enough. You're going to tell me basically do nothing now, but tell us really what your days look like.
So I'll start you from the beginning because to me, I find it to be interesting. I was in a family business before this business. And before that, I was, when I was in college, I always wanted to be an event promoter. I wanted to be like a concert promoter. Graduated college, went into the promotions business, learned about it. It's really about sponsorships and event production. Ended up working at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, which was like the greatest job in the 1990s. I just loved it, but I didn't make any money. Working for a museum, you don't make any money. A lot of people that tell you when they work for pro teams, they don't make money. It's just being there is what's fun. So then I joined my family business, and we were in the auto glass business. And auto glass businesses, we replaced windshields on cars, or windscreens, as you may say. My father started it in 1955. It was a wonderful business for a long time, but our acquisition costs kept going up, and our reimbursement from insurance companies kept going down. And unfortunately, about 20 years ago, we went out of business. And I was looking for a job. I had 4 children, twins that were 2 weeks old, and I needed a job. So this was about in November. I put my resume on eBay. And I wrote a press release that said, this person needs a job, and he's the first person ever to go on eBay and ask for a job. I put myself up for $99,000 looking for a job. So I got some inquiries, and I had an opportunity. But I then was going to have a press conference that, big shot me, I'm going to have a press conference to say that I'm looking for a job. And at the time, in certain parts of the country, there were things called brain drain. And that's when the smart people, and I don't necessarily include myself in that, but the smart people leave Toledo's and at the time the Clevelands and go to Chicago's, go to Austin's, go to those towns. So big shot, I'm going to have a press release. I hire a person. She's helping me. I say to my wife in a straight face, do you think I should have a press conference? And she says, maybe you should call Matt Kripke and see what he thinks. So I called Matt and I said, hey, Matt, I know you saw the article about me because there was some press, the only one on eBay. And I said, Matt, what do you think? I want to have a press conference. And Matt is a wonderful guy, but Matt he wouldn't say that's stupid. He would say, that's interesting. Maybe you should do that. And so he said, but before you do, we just had someone that we hired here who's working for a big company now, and I'm not ready to say his name, but successful guy. We just hired a guy here, but Christmas something, he doesn't want to start. Maybe you would like to join us. Matt is telling me this as though I know what he does. He could have been in the shoe business, okay? His family and another family in town had what I was told were scrap yards, and now he's a scrap broker. I have no idea what that is. And as you know, most of your friends on the ancillary, they don't understand what work we do. So he says, come over, meet with me and my dad, and I'll tell you what we do. I tell my wife, oh yeah, they're great people. I go, I meet. And Matt says to me, he goes, you could have a press conference, you go into the insurance business. He said, the difference between all those businesses and this one is there's immediate gratification in our business. And I'm like, I love immediate gratification. So I said, that sounds great. He said, February, you'll start. There's this thing in St. Louis. After the St. Louis, you'll come and you'll start with us. And I'm like, sure, that sounds great. What do I do? And Matt and I from 20 years ago have sat across from each other, now next to each other, within arm's distance of each other and my other partners in this business. And we are aluminum recycled material traders. So that's how I got into the business. I've been in it 20 years in February. I love the business. It's everything that everyone says it is. I know I talk too much right there, so sorry about it. Is that enough?
No,
is that enough?
That's amazing. I want to know, did your eBay advert, did it include shipping?
It did not include shipping, but I think if you dig my name deep enough, you can see the article in the paper about it. So I had the press come to my house. It was not complicated. As you know, sometimes you can work the press a little bit when the story is good. So that's how I got into it. It's been 20 years. I started out trading aluminum on a daily basis. Matt sat across from me. I would get prices from him. I was trained just like people are trained. Never went out into a yard because we didn't have a yard. I went and worked at a couple of our good customers in their yards for a week here and a week there. A lot different than the way we train people today. But it was wonderful. I love it. And for me, I now manage a team of 8 traders. I'm the chief strategy officer for the company, which, that means it's a very, very important title. And about close to 4 years ago, I went to, at the time were my colleagues, and said, I'd like to run for ISRI, the board of ISRI. And I said, if I do, it's going to take a lot of time. Are you guys okay with that? And they said yes. And now I'm the incoming chairman of ReMA. And so you asked me my day to day. I manage a group of 8. And then I also am working with the executive committee of ReMA almost on a daily basis. And in a year and a half, I'll be the chairman of ReMA.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a great journey. What I find most interesting is people are constantly complaining, rightfully so, that it's really difficult to find good people, but not everybody's thinking out the box. And Matt could have easily just given you an answer, yes, do it. No, don't do it. Or what he wouldn't have said is that's stupid. But he could have easily just pushed you along and said, but instead he saw an opportunity to bring you into the industry, and he jumped, wholeheartedly at that. Now, I can tell you there's probably lots of people out there right now that don't realize they have an opportunity to bring somebody in that they know, whether it's a friend, whether it's somebody who knows somebody else who's talking to them for mentorship, whatever it is. Feel comfortable to invite people into this industry is a great way for us to bring, unlike you, but hopefully some really high-level, clever people into the industry.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. I tell people this is an industry about friends. And I'm a part of ReMA because my friends are a part of ReMA and I want to spend more time with them. So that gave me the opportunity to do it. And the people that I trade mostly with my friends. And that is what is so great about this industry. If you do it right, you have some ancillary people that you trade with that are very transactional, but the bulk of the people that I hope that you trade with are your friends. And I just hired someone a year ago here as a new trader. And after putting them through our regular training program, I said, I just want you to call people and make friends. Don't worry about buying. Just try to make friends. Try to make a connection with them. Because once you make the connection, the buying and the selling, that's easy with friends. It's hard with strangers. It's about price and about things that you don't want it to be about when it's with strangers. It's a lot easier when it's with friends. And that has worked for this individual. So,
and Andy, it's quite interesting because I would have always told, and I did tell my sales team at one time, we had 75 buyers on the road. I would always tell them, make friends with everybody, right? And even if you have to fake it. But this industry, since I've been in the US and it's been, close to a year that I've been coming back and forth, it's very interesting because it's actually authentic. Like you don't need to fake it here. People are actually very friendly. People want to do business with people they like. So you end up finding a crew of people and friends close, that you become close with. And what people don't also understand about that is if you are in your mid-20s, mid-30s, and you go into some of these conferences, realize that there's probably going to be 30 to 40 years that you're going to be seeing the same people over and over. I've now put together like a dinner at the BAR with people that are, similar to my age bracket, because I know that for the next 20 years, I've been going to many of them in the past, but I've never put my own, like a crew together. And I'm like, Well, this is a great thing. Every time we go to a BAR or a conference somewhere, we're going to get together, we're going to have a dinner. And that group will just grow and grow. And they are really friends. And of course we do business together, but people want to do business with people they like, right?
That's it. We, 8 years ago, our ReMA chapter put together an event called Best Young and Brightest. And at ReMA, or at ISRI at the time, we had an issue with young people weren't getting involved. And we just didn't have a lot of young people as part of the industry. So we put this event together and we capped it at 50 people. It's about a 36-hour event that you pay one price. It's 36 hours. And you all have to stay at the same hotel and you have all the meals together. And it is almost every footstep is planned because we want everyone to be friends. So the people from the first one of them is on the executive committee of ReMA. A number of them have chaired committees of ReMA. They do very well in their companies. But the string that ties them all together is that the people from the first class, we've done 8 of these classes. The people from the first class, a lot of them are still tight. And they had that opportunity, just like you created the opportunity for you at the BIR. They had this opportunity from people all around the country to come together and be friends and then go as friends. And then when there is a meeting, are you guys all going? And the text links and everything. So that part is so great. And for me, I literally just did this morning. Someone had an item here that I didn't know the item. And I texted a friend this morning. I haven't talked to this person in 6-7 weeks. I said, hey, what can you do with this? What do I do with this alloy? I haven't even heard of it before. Bam, within 30 seconds, they gave me an answer that unless you have that, if everything was competition, no one would ever do that. And this is somewhat of a friendly competitor too. So that is what is so wild about this business.
Look, I think we could probably speak about this for days. So let's jump into some value and try and get some stories from you of things that have affected you and molded you into being, the leader and the person that you are now. So can you talk us through a pivotal trade experience, something that really offered you some serious learning that you could take with you through the rest of your career?
So, the part of trading that I think is the most valuable is when, and we as a company, it's almost one of our core principles. Relationships are not made on all the great deals. Relationships are made on the bad deals, because that is when everybody really shows their colors. And what happens when something goes bad? What happens if you're exporting and something's in Korea? What happens if you're exporting, or if you are doing a domestic deal from California to Lancaster, PA, and something goes bad? What I have found is recycling people or scrap dealers, when the truck leaves their place, they never want to see it again. And if they see it again, that is like, it really is upsetting. They always want one-way tickets. So for us and for me, the best lessons that I have learned along the way are when things go bad. When you send in somewhere that they have told you they don't take bales, they don't take boxes. But as a young trader, you're excited and you want to do deals and maybe they'll take it. Those are the times that it burns a hole in, where you never forget. And whether we send boxes in where it should have been bales or bricks, all of those are the times. And then when it really goes bad, how I act with my customer. One lesson was I sold some material to a person in the Southwest, sold a load to them. The load went bad. It was coils and it had cores in it. And the cores happened to be steel cores. Nobody puts steel cores in aluminum. It's just so bizarre. And it got to the mill and they obviously rejected it. And the person, now a lot of this is in my mind, the person that rejected it and the person that bought it from me was hiding under their desk. They refused to take my calls. And I needed some help. Just, what do I do with this? This is a one-way ticket. And what do I do with this particular load? And the way that they reacted to it was hiding under their desk. And I have never traded with this person again. I don't even know, and I'm not really a huge grudge holder, but I don't even know if I've ever spoken to this person again, because that is the time when you know who your friends are. That is the time when you, as a broker, you bring your value. And if I was delivering, if I had picked up a load from you and it went bad and you couldn't get a hold of me and I ran under my desk and wouldn't take your call, that's it. That is the end. So I'd say that, unfortunately the mistakes are where we find out who our friends are and who's smart. And for us as a company, we believe that we step up to the plate when things go bad. As a matter of fact, in our core values, our last core value is we provide solutions. And it came up from that particular, not that particular individual case, but we provide solutions to problems, because those one-way tickets, they don't want a return flight. Those loads do not want a return flight.
Yeah. There's a great saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. And there's an opportunity, right, in these mistakes and these errors. And also you talk about coming with solutions. Now, I can just think about internally when you have your own team, or if you're an employee somewhere, instead of taking a problem to somebody, inform them of the problem, but take them a solution at the same time. It goes a really long way. So if you, for example, you've got a claim, you've got an issue, you received some material that was off spec, here is the problem, but here is what I would like to do about it. Makes a huge difference to, as you say, hiding behind a desk, not taking calls. You can't actually solve anything. I mean, those are two complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Often what you can get is an angry phone call. Somebody's upset, but they're not solutionizing. They're just thinking, this is an issue right now, and you've done this to me, or whatever it might be, or I'm hiding for whatever reason, instead of just being, this is how we can solve it. And if you have that in your customer service, you'll go a very long way, and you will make friends, and you'll do business with people for a very long time.
Absolutely. This stuff that we move on a daily basis, it isn't, we're not moving TVs that work. We're moving stuff that widgets someone else didn't want. So, So
and it is gray, right? Yeah. There's a gray area in all these specs. There's a gray area, buying versus selling. It's very easy to put a different set of glasses on and say, well, I'm seeing this now as a buyer. I'm seeing it. Both can be absolutely correct. That's the problem. And you just have to be aware of that. And also, if you're in it for the long haul, and if you consider that this is just a time right now, an issue right now, and this will be gone in a couple of days' time, and you will carry on doing business, is it worth ruining your reputation? Is it worth ruining a relationship, or whatever it might be? Or step up, conclude the deal. If you have to take a knock, you take the knock, and you move on to be able to carry on, to be able to stay in the ring, I guess.
Absolutely. And, our second core value is that relationships are the backbone of our business. And our backbones aren't getting broken over one bad deal with a good customer. It just doesn't happen. Just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think so many of us feel the same about relationships. If I wouldn't have built a relationship-led marketplace. I realize that we're not going to become transactional. That's never going to change in our industry. What we need is somebody to help our relationships to make it more efficient. So I completely agree. And that, those are great values to have. When you guys do a lot of brokerage. So when you are selling, it's very easy to get a phone call, get a message from a million different buyers who come to you from out of nowhere, go to the BIR, which we were talking about earlier, and meet thousands of new buyers. It's very difficult to know who are the most reputable, who are going to honor their deal, who's reliable. How do you decide who you should sell your material to, and how do you consider bringing on even new buyers?
So we do it a couple different ways. And for us, doing a lot of domestic business, it is very rare that there is somewhere in this country, there is a buyer that melts that I don't know someone or someone else doesn't know someone. So especially when they come into the market and they're 20 cents above the marketplace or something crazy like that. So one is, we do some simple background checking. Okay. The simplest form. Hey, Stu, do you know this guy? Yeah. Something like that. Two, as brokers, we have credit insurance on about 95% of the people that we do business with. As brokers, we're making, thin margin. So we need to protect ourselves. It's in our bank covenants. I mean, credit insurance is extremely important to us. If credit insurance is an issue, or if we are selling someone that we'd like to sell more than we can get credit on, then our CFOs may exchange financials to see if they are worthy where they're at. That's really how we do it. With regard to export, which we are growing our export business. It is a little bit more difficult. The place where we are is we don't deal, our bread and butter are primary alloys and extrusions and the really good aluminum stuff. The low-grade wire and the sealed units, although we do them in such small quantities that we don't have enough to talk to 20 people about. If we have a place to sell sealed units, we sell them, and it's not like we have 40 different loads of sealed units from 20 different dealers to sell. So we really, on an export basis, we really don't have that much checking on. We don't have that much checking, and we also will do credit insurance on them. And sometimes we may go through a broker in the US that sells to the end customer. Obviously, our goal is to have direct relationships with the mills. But as we're finding, even the mills have an in-between. So referrals, credit insurance, and maybe, and this is the part that I know you love because it's so inaccurate, is the vibe. You know, it's the vibe. And since we're not filling up, entire ships for one or two loads, the risk is not there as much as potentially it was when you were back in your previous life. So that's how we do it.
There's a lot of vibe at the BAR.
Right.
It's trying to choose the right vibe,
Right.
which is always really tricky. But now, you obviously, in order to have a lot to sell, you're having to buy a lot. What's your strategy when it comes to buying? Like, you've mentioned before, build relationships, but how much is, location, the price, how much marketing do you guys do? Is there something around like a customer experience which you hold dear to you? How do you guys handle your buying?
So I love this question because this is really gets to the heart of who we are. We're not transactional. We have dealers that are transactional. We go out of our way to satisfy our dealer relationships. If something goes bad, most of the time we eat it. We may start a relationship and not even make money on stuff just to get something going. Our reputation is bigger than anyone here. And our reputation is what I hold dearly and watch closely. With 8 traders, I tell our traders, if you go to the roundtables or go to the St. Louis meeting and you're the guy that everybody's talking about when we come back, that isn't going to be good. That's not us. We hold our reputation very important. We do tons of marketing. We have so much fun with our marketing. Last year,
Elvis Presley rock and roll, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we have for the past 10 years sponsored the Mama's Rules, and we have special photography done, and we do a lot of things. But the thing we did last year, this was pretty crazy. So last year, we always do an April Fool's joke. So last year, because we do a lot of emailing and we have a texting program, and we try to stay at the forefront of everything. So last year on April Fools, we sent a letter to our customers. This went good and bad. It was weird. And we said to them, congratulations, we just bought a jet. And it's the same jet that Taylor Swift uses. It's big. And congratulations to us. But the truth is, we didn't buy it for us. We bought it for you. And we have 2 pilots and 3 stewardesses, and it's beautiful. And it's going to give us the opportunity to visit you more and to see you more. And we're really not going to use it much on the weekends. It's really for you. We did this for you. And it went on a little more. It was an AI written letter. Well, some of our customers who know us, I sent this out to 5,000 people. Some of our customers who know us sent, you guys are so full of shit. And what is going on here? Some of the fringe was like, what are you nuts? You assholes. We'll never do business with anyone who talks to us like that. They thought we were for real. So, the reason I mention it is because comedy and humor and that you have to have some risk. You have to push some boundaries. That doesn't mean you're in bad taste. It means you got to push the boundaries a little. You got to get people's attention. People were talking about it. They were talking about it. We were just at the roundtables and everyone's like, how did you get here on your jet? And some people still believe it. The whole line, we didn't buy it for us. We bought it for you. To us, we were belly laughing, crying our eyes out on how funny it was. And so you asked how we do it. We take some risks. We take risks with comedy. We try to be in front of people all the time. We try to stand out. We do guerrilla marketing. I mean, we really try to differentiate ourselves from everyone. And what we want to do is we want to capture your attention and give us a chance to experience what dealing with Kripke is like. Because what we find is the people that deal with us love dealing with us. Our number one core value is we do what we say. And that came from the founder, Larry Kripke, Matt's father. He said it differently. The way he said it is, we pay our bills on time. And we say we do what we say. Because when he started, what was important to him was paying the bill on time. Because sometimes brokers, they play games, this and that. Our most important thing in our core values are we do what we say. And once we capture your attention, whether it's through our marketing or our advertising or emails, texting, or just general fun, and you experience us, you stay with us. So we don't always have the best price, but you know that you can trust us and that we are people of integrity. And in this business, that's number one. You can have lots of friends, but in this business, you don't hang out with people that are criminals or that cheat people or anything like that. You are judged by those that surround you. And we hope to surround ourselves with the best. And our customers are really the best recycling facilities in the country, and if not in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I can think of, I actually, while you were talking there, I could think of quite a few of your little marketing things you've done. I remember the Elvis Presley with the sideburns. There was once you did something where I can't remember what you were doing, what everybody in your company did, but on the back of the screen was funny like videos on their computer screen, and that was really what was hilarious about the whole scene. Right. Was what were they watching? Like it's like that's all you noticed and really got your attention. And as you say, if people are talking about it, well, then you're doing it right. So that's awesome.
It's the difference between transactional. I mean, as you know, and in your business, you can survive for a while being the highest price buyer, and you can survive for a while being the lowest price software company or a company that does the things that you do. You can survive a while, but you're not going to survive the long term. Someone's going to come out with a lower price. Someone's going to come out and pay more. And it's our people like to do business with their friends, guys that they can joke with, guys that they go, or women that they go and have some beers with and have some fun with. So,
it's a sprint versus a marathon is the analogy I always use. Like, what are you in this for? Are you in this for the long haul? And are you making friends because you want to hang out with them for the next 20 or 30 years? Or are you just looking to make a buck? And if you are, that's all good and well. But just know that your time span will be a lot shorter than those that are behaving in a different way.
Stuart, it is amazing that just today, I have had these same conversations with my traders. You know, someone brings me an opportunity. It looks like we can work on a gigantic margin. I'm like, you can do that, but that's the last time we'll do business with them ever.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's not how we do things. So I completely agree with you. It's a marathon, and 20 years goes by like that.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about decision-making. You hold a role where you're going to have to make quite a lot of decisions in your time. What sort of data are you using? You know, are there key metrics that you run your team on, run the company on? How are you making better data-driven decisions?
Again, this is so timely. So we run things very tight. We're very lucky. We wrote our software system internally. And after using it for 5 years or so, the person that wrote it came to work for us. So we have an in-house code writer. So I have the ability. 2 days ago, I said to him, look, I want to look at the projected profit deals made compared to the actual money deals made. I want to look at the projected freight rates compared to the actual freight rates. I want to look at how many deals this person did, with who, when, and now he is writing code to predict when this customer should be doing their next deal with us. So We use data in the deal making constantly. So everything, all the systems that we create over here, we do the same in our logistics area, and we do the same in our consolidation and retail area. And so can I tell you an interesting story about how we use data? All right. So not only are we in the scrap business, but we are in the aluminum coil brokerage business. We buy and sell aluminum coil that really goes into the building and construction business. So building it, B&C, and then gutters and downspouts. And the beauty of gutters and downspouts is that we buy bare coil, some domestically, some overseas. We send them, we get them painted. Basically, a lot of it is we get it painted white. And the people that paint it they sit in their warehouse at no expense to us. It sits in their warehouse until we call it to send it to a customer, right? And I look out my window backs up to our retail area, and I see all these trucks driving in, gutters. We do gutters, seamless gutter. And I'm like, jeepers. Like, we have all these guys coming in here with gutters, and we have this coil that is sitting in warehouses in Kentucky and Minnesota, all over the place. I'm like, you know what? I think we should bring the coil in here, some of it, not all of it, and sell it to these guys. I go to my our computer guy, or sometimes I call him our computer nerd, but I say that to his face. And I said to him, we also have a very vibrant retail texting program. I said to him, pull everyone that has ever sold us 3105 scrap. And we took everyone that did it, everyone that's in our texting program. We dropped all the names into our text system. We sent out a text to them that said, hey, we now sell coil. We know you sell 3105. We assume you're in the gutter business. Next day, we made sales. Next day. So it's like, when you have the data, having the data is one thing. It reminds me of the Seinfeld thing. Having the data is one thing, but when you have the person that knows how to access it and use it to your advantage, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. So that's what I mean when I say we drill down on stuff. And I know that you have to do that as well. It just is so powerful when you have the data and you know how to access it. What do you think?
Oh, look, you're speaking my language, Andy. That's gospel. I mean, I am such a big fan of that answer. George Adams was up the other day on stage in Chicago, and he was asked, what his thoughts were about Buddy and that sort of data play coming through to help on the trading side, because we don't have that. And he went on and on about how important data is, and he couldn't run his company without data. But then there's a lot of companies that are still using pen and paper. Like, we need to move holistically across into the era of utilizing data for our entire industry to be better. Your example is on point. Like, it is brilliant. The fact that you could just delve into your data and say, who has sold me this material, plus have all of their information you need to be able to now also send a text message, and it immediately converted into revenue. Like, that's just hugely, hugely powerful.
Stu, if people have retail yards, okay, and I know you, since I'm not selling anything, if you have a retail yard and you are not collecting cell phone numbers for texting, you are like, and we do a lot of radio advertising and other local advertising, but you are letting money like go right out the door. We are able on occasion to run a special, and they line up outside here because they got the text. Does the text work every time? No. Do we send people jokes too? Sure. Do we give away hot dogs? Yeah. But we are able to use our data to make more money. And, I think to myself, and we have a small retail yard. If you have a big retail yard and you're filling containers, and you've got 2 containers that you need to get another 20,000 pounds of insulated wire or sealed units or whatever it is, and you can send a text out to say, hey, I'm willing to pay a little bit more, or if you can get it here immediately, like, how else do you do it? What do you do? You stand at your front
Andy,
door?
my wife must love you. Well, she will love editing this episode, because when we had the business in New Zealand, all I used to hear was first party database. Now, this is 7 or 8 years ago. I didn't even know what that meant. But in the tech world, it's exactly what you're talking about. It's the ability, and people pay a lot of money to buy these databases from other companies. We have these customers delivering to us on a daily basis. We are already getting information from them. It is very simple to say, can you please give me your mobile phone number? Or would you like to join our premium supplier group, right? And all of a sudden, of course I would. What do I get? Well, you get a 10% premium on all the prices. And of course we factor that into our pricing and how we structure our pricing. But now all of a sudden, people feel that they need to give you their information. And when they give you the information, you can use that to communicate, because they have to opt in to receive text messages. They do that by becoming a member of Kripke Retail, whatever it is. And then you have the ability to communicate directly with your customers. And it's exactly what you say.
And so here's what was interesting. The reason, one of our pathways to retail was, it was COVID. Matt sent a challenge out to all of us. Where are our COVID pivots? We have a pretty big building in a very nice part of town that there isn't another person that collects metal within 12 miles. And the idea came about, let's do retail. And we said, we're going to do it. If we do it, we're going to do it like Chick-fil-A. And I'm talking to my friend, Neil Bice. And Neil says to me, he says, if you do retail the way you do brokerage with our same core values, you guys are going to kill it. And within, we use the same core values. We treat people the same way. We have the same amount of fun. And, we're not trying to kill them. There's no trying to kill them. And our, in Sacco's world, we are spotless. Our slogan is, you leave with air in your tires and cash in your pocket, because there's, it's clean here and we treat you like you're at Chick-fil-A. So we do this like points program, same thing that you're talking about, like a VIP program. And we give away certain things. But the thing that people want, that I'm like amazed by, is they want stuff with our name on it, because their affinity is to us. We're like their guys. We're their scrap guys. And we're there. And the person that's in the window that pays them, and the guys that are on the scale, those are like their friends. And, you can't come to our place with a shopping cart. It's just, it's not that you couldn't, it's that you couldn't get here with a shopping cart. And the way our place is set up, people that are shady don't come here. It isn't the place for them. So the people that do come, there's such pride, because we take such good care of them, that they want our name. We'll give away Yeti coolers. They want sweatshirts with Kripke on it. And so when you do that text messaging is between friends. That's how you communicate between friends. So it's not, you're communicating like you would a friend. And that's the other reason why it works. Now, if you're a yard where you treat people shitty and everybody leaves with a flat tire and your scale guys are trained to screw them, well, then text messaging isn't for you, because that's
Absolutely.
But if you're good people.
You created a community. That's really what you've done. You
correct.
created a Kripke community in your area. Lisa used to always say to me, you can tell a lot about how it's going by the responses you're getting. So when you send out a corporate text message and it goes out from a company, usually when you receive it, you're like, okay, there's a promotion. But it's going well when they reply, thank you so much. Oh. And it wasn't even from a person, right? It's from a company. Right. But then you can immediately see that they're relating to you. They're a part of a community. They appreciate what you're doing. You talk about Chick-fil-A. Our whole strategy in New Zealand was, because we compared what was out there at the time. And what we wanted to do was we said a McDonald's process. And we created a drive-through under a nice big cover. And you pulled up, you had your material offloaded. You were able to watch them weigh everything, put it on the system. You pulled up the next one and you got paid and you drove out. And our big thing was, when we did market validation in the area, we sold a bit of material to other metal recyclers before we built what we were building. And we were able to see that usually you got shouted at. You arrive there, it's intimidating. It's your first time in a scrapyard. You go, where do I go? And some big guy goes, put it down in the corner.
Right.
And,
criminal, go over there.
deterrent.
You look like a criminal, go over there. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas,
Prison
what
yard.
we wanted was, Lisa's whole thing was wayfinding. When you go to McDonald's drive-through, no one ever wonders, oh, do I turn right or do I turn left? Where should I stop, right? So we had all the signage, and it was like arrows pointing, and it was like way and pay here, or way here, pay next. And when you arrived in, there was a big container wall which showed you step 1, 2, and 3. So you knew exactly what was coming next. And if you can manage that as well and manage the expectations of the customers, immediately they have a better experience. But we could probably talk about this for days. I mean, this is a topic I think you and I both really love. Next time I'll dial Lisa in because she can give us all the homework she's done and all the courses she's done.
I want to leave this one subject because you did say something. When we send text to our customers, we always make it from a person. We don't do it from Kripke Enterprises.
Same.
We say this.
No.
Right.
So that when I said it's from an enterprise, I mean physically, actually, but we always use the name. Okay, because we're going to start running out of time. We're going to have to skip a whole lot of the questions which we had planned because we're having way too much fun here. So I want to ask you quickly, who do you want to hear next from on Born Scrappy?
Boy, that is so I'll make this as short as possible. I feel as though our businesses have such a strong connection to the can manufacturers and to the automotive, but we don't hear enough from them. We may hear from the Novellises of the world that make the can stock and make the automotive stock, but our businesses are symbiotic. We cannot live without each other. The recycling can't live without the Coke, and Coke can't live without recycling and automotive. I want to hear from the consumers of our products and understand what is important to them. Do I have their exact names? I don't know, Mr. Coca-Cola and Mr. General Motors. I mean, I want to hear from those people. I am dying for someone from the automotive industry to say to our industry, thank you so much for what you do. And so that's who I want to hear from. You have had such great guests, and it's funny because you've had a lot of good ones, and some of their what they talk about and some of the things that we've talked about, I've heard even from them. But I want to hear from the consumers of the products that are made from recycled materials, not the melters, but the people that they sell to, and understand. So that could be great. That could be heating and cooling companies, air conditioning companies, so many people that rely on us. And I feel it's so imperative that we make that clear connection between us. It's not just Scrapyard Novellis Abyss. It's Scrapyard Novellis General Motors, Scrapyard Novellis Coca-Cola, or that's who I want to hear from.
Yeah, I'm with you. Cool. That's a good one. That sounds like season 4. Let's get to know Andy quickly before we go. Favorite TV series or movie?
So I love Jack Ryan. I love anything CIA. My favorite, Jack Ryan. I also love Ocean's 11 movies, 12 with women, without women. I love those. Show me a Jack Ryan or Jack Reacher. I am as happy as a clam.
Favorite place to visit?
So I love Northern Michigan and I love Southern Florida. I love, and you haven't been to these areas yet in the country, but Northern Michigan is like Charlevoix, Harbor Springs, Petoskey. And then I like the East Coast of Florida, the Bocas, West Palm Beach, and that. Those are where I've spent most of my
life. There tomorrow. I'm literally flying to Boca tomorrow. I've got a few meetings in that area, and then staying at a cousin of mine. And then I'm back there in December. We'll be holidaying for a few weeks there.
Are you renting a house there? Where are you staying in Boca?
Hotel. Okay. No, they've got other family there at the time. So we'll be at Boca Raton. Favorite book.
I like David Balducci type books. Again, I'm a CIA kind of junkie. I also like anything that James Patterson. But the book, now I'm going to do a little promo here. The book that I'm totally hot on right now is Fans First by Jesse Cole. Fans First by Jesse Cole.
I mean, that's not CIA. What is that about?
No, that is not CIA. Jesse Cole is the owner of the Savannah Bananas. The Savannah
he's
Bananas
incredible.
are reinventing baseball, and
He's amazing.
Although it's out there, he is the opening speaker for this year's The Show convention in San Diego in 2025. So he is awesome.
I follow him on social media. He is brilliant. He's an absolute genius.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he is our opening
like
speaker on Tuesday morning of the of this year's ReMA 2025. So I'm really excited about that.
That's cool.
And his book was amazing. The friction points, and it's stuff that you did at your yard, and you're doing. I mean, it's really your story about your software on how you're taking out all the friction points and just getting rid of those. And that's his story of baseball. And it is. I hope for our business owners that he opens up their eyes to what is possible, because baseball is so American and so has been done the same for so long, and he has changed it all and sold out stadiums. I mean, I'm amazed with him, and I'm totally stoked that he's going to be the opening speaker.
Lastly, favorite quote.
Favorite quote. All right. So I really have two. One, I don't know who it can be attributed to, but sometimes when I get confused or low or whatever, I remind myself to march by the beat of my own drum. And my other favorite quote is, if I had more time, my letter would be shorter. I believe in things that are concise, and in marketing, doing things concise takes a lot of time. So
I absolutely love that quote, and it makes a lot of sense. It sounds very simple and sounds backwards, but brutal. When you understand exactly what you're saying, it's brilliant. Andy, that's been awesome. I love the show, and we could have spoken for days. So looking forward to seeing you in the next few weeks at one of the conferences somewhere around.
I'll see you in Singapore. That's
right, next week.
Are you going to be in Singapore?
We'll be. Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing you there, and I'll be there Saturday. Hey, this has been such an honor to be a part of this. Thank you. I know I talk a lot, but thank you so much for having me on. It's really been an honor.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.